To life after gray narcissist divorce. And if you like this video, please subscribe. And if you have any comments after, please leave them below. If you can relate to this I call fighting with my family. The narcissist triangulates children. Well, I was married to a narcissist, but we had a large blended family. The Brady Bunch, we were not. Anyway, I believe this happens even when it is not a blended family, because narcissists love to triangulate people, and they're not discriminate about who they will use in their triangulation, and that includes their children. Their children, including, he even sometimes would use my children, not as much my sons, but he would even use my daughter to triangulate. And just because that's what they do, triangulate. And sometimes it will be the truth, like I said, because they like to lie, and sometimes it's a lie, and he will use them as his confidants, sometimes, as you would say. And at one point, our joint therapist, she called this emotional incest. So anyway, some of the things that were done, or that he would do, would just be, complaining to the children about me, or just all those kinds of things, or then telling me, oh, if we were in a fight, telling me, oh, well, your daughter doesn't like that about you either. So it was a constant kind of triangulation thing going on, or using children as flying monkeys, that type of thing that could go on. And then later on, he even confided in two of his children when he was having an affair, which was really not an appropriate thing to do with your children, to put them in that kind of a position, because for all intents and purposes, I was their mother. I had raised them, and he put them in this horrible, uncomfortable position. And I also had witnessed other things that narcissists do with children. Another thing he did, we would come visit for a couple months. Every year we would come visit Florida when we still lived in Washington, and one year he didn't want to come home, and he stayed here with his two older adult children, and then he would triangulate me with them by saying, they take so much better care of me than you do, which these adult children had substance abuse problems, which also, why is an adult needing to be taken care of? But these are just the types of games that narcissists play, and it's very, very painful. I had later on, after we separated and were getting ready to go through a divorce, I went through some support groups, and I witnessed the kinds of things that narcissists do to other people, including the way they triangulate in the courts, especially here in Florida, with children, and parental alienation, and also in a divorce support group that I was in, with a woman who was married to a narcissist, how the narcissist was turning her adult children against her. So this is a common thing they do also. And narcissists bringing people back to court over and over and over again when there are minor children involved, so that they can still continue to abuse the person even after divorce, using the children as a weapon for continued abuse. And I don't think there's anything that can stop them here in the state of Florida from doing that over and over again. I did get my divorce in the state of Nevada because my ex was a resident of Nevada at the time, and I noticed that they had, the paralegal that I went through told me that they had a law in Nevada that keeps people from going back to court for 3 years. So luckily the state of Nevada has a law that stops people from abusing the courts that way. So once you go through court in the state of Nevada, you cannot bring another court action for 3 years. So it would be very helpful if more states had laws similar to this to keep these abusers from using the courts to continue to abuse their families, keep the family fighting going on and on even after the divorce. And they'll use their children as flying monkeys back and forth. And I've experienced all of this. Now, if I've been 100% never leaned on my kids, no, I have been guilty of that, especially, and I've had to apologize to my kids for that, especially when I was going through the divorce itself, because I had been completely isolated by my ex, and the only joint friends we had here in the state, he had turned into flying monkeys against me. So I was leaning on my children, my adult children, they were all adults by then, probably more than I should have been. But we still should not do that to our children, and especially try our hardest not to put them in that position. So anyway, if you have any comments about this or have experienced this kind of things, and my deepest sympathies to any of you who are going through this ongoing court abuse. The courts are just so ignorant to this. There just needs to be more education among judges and attorneys, etc., to what these people are doing and the parental alienation that is going on, and how these people are abusing the system and continuing to abuse even after the divorce. So thank you for stopping by, and please subscribe.